Hey folks, it's Alex Coulomb here to tell you about AgileLens's newest experiment. We call it Stage Presence. It is a virtual performance platform that should be useful to you in all things from rehearsing a show to actually putting on one either in mixed reality, co-located with your friends around you, or across the virtual world. So let's take a look at it. I'm going to open it up here. Our first little app lab test. This has been kind of a mashup over the last few weeks of various projects we've done across virtual and mixed reality, across performance, across rehearsal. And the first thing we're going to do when we open up the app is set our name. Alex is fine. If I want to be fancy, maybe I add it to this or something. Alex the Good. Worse than Alex the Great. Now, as a performer, first thing you're going to do is say that you are a performer. Note, by the way, everything I'm doing can work entirely with hand tracking. It just feels a little better right now with controllers. So I'm going to say, yeah, I'm a performer. And then I get this fun option of whether I want to control one or two avatars. I'm a pretty crazy guy. I'm going to control two. And then you just have an option to select both of them. So I'm going to go ahead and grab our classic Charles Dickens from Christmas Carol. And as a second avatar down here, let's go ahead and instead of Scrooge or even Marley, let's grab Gray Man. Who's this guy? We don't know yet. Over here, this is where we do our networking if you're doing a multiplayer session. So Join from Google is connected to a spreadsheet. So that's a very easy number to change. And we just call back to the internet to find out what it should be. Found session would be if we're all on the same local area network and that gets connected together. I can also manually type in an IP, but right now it's just going to be little old me. So I'm just going to click host session and we'll see right away that I've got my character here. And what's more, because I am in the MetaQuest Pro, I have some mouth tracking. No tongue, unfortunately that doesn't come through. But I am a metahuman controlling myself. I'm myself controlling a metahuman, one of those things. And so that's what you get right off the bat is just my name tag and my character, probably feeling reasonably on the floor if your boundary is set up. And if this is enough for you to have a good time and just play around with your 3D virtual avatar, then good for you. Maybe you go up and you give yourself a little high five and you call it a day, and that's good enough. But if you want to be a little bit more advanced, let's take a little look around and let's see if we can find, Charles Dickens. Yes, so we actually have access to control two different characters as one person. This grew, of course, out of what Ari Tar was doing with Charles Dickens and Scrooge over in Christmas Carol. So you'll see that I can actually bounce back and forth between these characters. I've got some controls to rotate and move on the joystick. I can make them walk forward, but I can also physically walk forward, and that will do some of this as well. You'll notice also that the moment it looks like I'm crouching, that's actually pretty easy to fix. I've got the X button on my left hand, and think of the X like X marks the spot on the ground, and that will actually level me out. And right now you'll see that the height has also shifted to match me. Sometimes the Quest Pro controllers get a little wacky here. And then I can do the same thing with Dickens, of course. I can switch over to him, which I do with the B and the A button, and I can press the X button to snap to my height there. So now I've got my two guys, and I can bounce back and forth pretty easily between them and start to have a bit of a conversation, a bit of a dynamic, some back and forth, and that is quite fun if I'm just having fun doing a thing by myself. But what else can we do besides, get up real close to my doppelganger here and look into my face and enjoy that really lovely eye contact, right? I can do the same thing with Dickens. Come here, Dickens. Let's take a look. Hi, hello, hi. My teeth are so 1800s. Yes. Okay, so we've got the performance side down, right? We can have these guys talk to each other, engage with each other, bounce back and forth. Hi, Dickens. How are you? Oh, I'm just fine, Gray Man. Thank you very much for asking. And I'm not a performer. And we can also, in addition to all this, start to set up a bit of a stage. So over on my left hand, I've got a little bit of a menu right now. Let's just go through the list of them real quick. So first up, I've got Spawn Cube. I'm going to access these by clicking with my right hand over here. And now I've got a cube. Just hanging out in mixed reality. I can do whatever I want with it. I can scale it up and down with the grips. If I use one grip, I can move it. I can go put it over in my hand there for later usage. And I could spawn a few of these. Let's just do a bunch. And I'm bringing this up because, in addition to spawning, say, a chair, right there, I can also do something fun like toggle gravity. I'll make this a little bit higher up. So if I turn on gravity, bloop, they all fall to the ground. And it really does feel like they exist in the real world, which is quite nice. I can also explode things, pew, shoot things off up into the air. Play volleyball with your friends if you want. This can also be a game. And I can turn the gravity toggle back off if I once again want to be able to grab stuff and move it around. And then check this out. I can spawn a script. So this actually goes to a Google Doc link. And we see right now we've got Waiting for Godot. Make sure you've got the rights to whatever kind of performance you're going to have. But we can see here that I can just kind of scroll through this Google Doc. And this could have anything in it. It could be Google Slides. This is my dog. And this could all be whatever I want it to be. So if I wanted to start to do a little performance, I've got some other people in here who've joined as audience. Maybe they're physically here, maybe they're virtually, and they want to watch me perform as these characters. I could actually bounce back and forth between them. Maybe put this in a slightly easier to see spot. And I could have Vladimir say, show me, and bounce back and forth. Vladimir Estragon, kind of like I'm puppeteering them. And show me. There's nothing to show. Try to put it on again, et cetera, back and forth. And if the third person thing feels a little bit too much like puppeteering, and I want to feel more like I am directly controlling them, well, I can actually go into a virtual reality mode by right-clicking the controllers here, and you'll see that I'm actually able to control them directly. And so to the audience, they'll still see mixed reality. They'll still see where these are rooted in the real world, maybe interacting with physical objects or spaces that are really here. But in the virtual world, of course, now I can do things like make more direct eye contact. Same thing if I saw other audience members. I could actually make them feel more directly engaged and jump between my characters here as well as I move between them, and each of them freezes in whatever position I leave them in, et cetera, et cetera. Kind of like the improv game Freeze in Whose Line Is It Anyway? Then when I'm back to understanding how everything is situated in the real world, I can be here again. Notice that I can actually control the character more directly. So I am, in fact, Dickens right now. Our shoes vaguely match. And I can kind of just continue to do this as well if I'm okay with having my character where I physically am in the real world rather than side by side. Doopa-doopa-doo. Great. Okay, so then the next thing we might want to do is what if we wanted to have a little light, okay? So we got this light, and we can make it bigger, smaller. That's going to change the intensity and attenuation radius. But I can also change the color. This is done simply by rotating it. Right? So that's just going to change the color. Real simple translation of XYZ rotation values. I'm not sure if that's correct for, it's a vector thing. Those values into RGB, which is quite fun. And I can kind of place these lights wherever I want in my scene, visible to the audience. And that's kind of it. We've got like a save feature, a load feature. So, if I was really going to do something like Waiting for Godot, maybe I would set up, a bit of a bench on the ground. These can be thought of as kind of like rehearsal cubes or, show cubes if you're actually going to put on a real show. So I'm going to put up, 3 cubes here. There's a little bench for my characters. I could make them go and sit down over there if I wanted to. Physically back up and yeah, right. And then kind of like physically scoot until I'm in the right spot. And I could actually sit in a real chair. In fact, watch this. I could actually sit here for a moment and then just kind of scoot my character until I'm now matching where I want them to be here. Ready? Let's see if I can do both of them. So we got Vladimir hanging out right here. I can make the cube a little bigger if I needed to. And then I can jump over to Dickens and have him go sit on the side of the bench. Yeah, it is a little funny that I've got my chair here and I'm using these instead as a bench. But let's go all the way with Waiting for Godot. And maybe we actually build our tree, classic part of the show, with a chair. And I'm showing you this primarily to be like, we could be mocking up the set design real quick, figuring out the blocking of the actors. We could be pretending we're in an actual space. I could even start to demarcate the size of an actual stage. The final show doesn't need to have anything to do with advanced technology. It could just be something that's going to be performed on a regular stage. Okay, and then last step for the set design, there. Yeah. Beautiful, right? Let's take a look. Yeah, so we got our bench, we got our tree. It's a classic production of Waiting for Godot. We set up the lights wherever we want them to be. Glow a little bit more, whatever we need. And then once you're done, you can go ahead and hit save, and now it will remember where these things are. So then I, move them around. And of course, yeah, we need to add more stage slots and all that stuff. But I mess something up, I screw things up, I move things around, and then once again, I can go load, and everything snaps back to where it was. So that's cool. So that's really it. That's just a quick introduction. Bring Dickens over here to also say hi again. So that's just a quick introduction to some of the things you can do in Stage Presence. Right now we support, at least 10 performers. I think that's what we've tried so far. Something like the Quest Pro or the Quest 2 are going to be more limited in what they can handle because they're older headsets. Quest 3 is much more powerful, has much better pass-through as well. The downside being that you don't get the facial capture like you do with Quest Pro. So in that scenario, you actually end up automating some of that. We just do it based on the waveform, the audio to move the mouth, as well as just some automated blinks. But in a lot of cases, it's good enough. That's how a lot of people do it in other platforms, and we can do it that way too. Let's just show real quick what the hand tracking looks like. So I can tap my controllers, put them down, and then we see here that my character has good hand tracking, right? Ooh. Doot, 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 doot. You can almost feel the fingertip there. Anyway, future videos coming up, I'll let you know about new features, other things we start to set up. There's a way to actually set an anchor so that in mixed reality, everyone sees the same content in the same place. We'll get into all that, but this is just like a first 0.001 beta. And I hope you found this video interesting and reach out with any questions. And of course, if you would actually like to try this yourself, look at me using my fingers to scale the script up and down. Fun stuff. I also actually quite like the pass-through there for the hands. Check that out. It's not quite Apple Vision Pro quality, but it's my hands cutting through the virtual world into the real world. No thanks, no thanks. All right, that's it. Bye for now.